The Federal Executive Council has dropped a bombshell decision: no new universities, polytechnics, or colleges for the next 7 years. Presiding over Wednesday's FEC meeting, President Tinubu led the council in approving a moratorium to halt what the government calls needless duplication of tertiary institutions. Education Minister Tunji Alausa explained that the move is to rescue Nigeria's collapsing infrastructure and manpower in schools.
And also my fellow colleagues that are here with us, as well as members of the press. Today, the Federal Executive Council, led by our chairman, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we approved a 7-year moratorium on establishment of new federal tertiary educational institutions all across the country. Tertiary institutions, universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. 7-year moratorium on establishment of any of these institutions. And let me give the members of the press and the entire country the full perspective and the context behind this memo going to the Federal Executive Council. Today, in our country, access to tertiary education is no longer an issue. What we have now is duplication of new federal tertiary institutions. And what we're seeing is significant reduction in the carrying capacity of each of these institutions, tertiary institutions, universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. Now, we're witnessing significant deterioration of infrastructures, both physical and manpower, at these federal tertiary institutions. So, and if we do not act decisively, we'll have significant reduction in the quality of graduates coming out of these institutions, which will impact our global rating and the respect that the international community has for the graduates, for the people graduating from our universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. And if we don't act decisively as well, the unemployment rate will worsen because hundreds of thousands of these graduates will not have life skills at all, which will eventually lead to significant reduction in our human capital index. Let me give you some data as well. Today, we have 72 public federal universities and about 108 state universities, as well as 159 private universities. For polytechnics, we have 42 public polytechnics, federal polytechnics, 98 state polytechnics, and 91 private polytechnics. For colleges of education, we have 28 federal colleges of education, 68 state colleges of education, and 152 private colleges of education. In areas of allied institutions that we used to call monotechnics, we have 42 public allied institutions and 54 private, giving a total of 98. We have 31 public colleges of agric and 1 private. Combined between colleges of health sciences and nursing, we have 158 public and 120 private of such institutions, which gives a total of 278 colleges of health sciences and nursing. For innovation enterprise institutions, which are also degree awarding.
The Council also approved 4 major proposals from the Ministry of Power in a renewed drive to reform and strengthen the nation's national electricity grid. Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu said the first approval was the release of 13 billion naira for compensation on right-of-way acquisitions under the Lagos Industrial Transmission Project, funded through a $238 million development loan from the Japan International Cooperation Agency.
Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, my colleagues at the Council, gentlemen of the press, I say good afternoon to you all. Today at the Council meeting, 4 papers were presented by the Federal Ministry of Power with regards to the reform and the development of the transformation of the power sector. And the 4 papers were duly approved. The first paper was a request to the Council to approve the resumption and continuation of disbursement of compensation for right-of-way for the Lagos-Ogun Industrial Hub Transmission Project. The request submitted was approval for the sum of 13 billion naira. The Lagos-Ogun Industrial Hub Transmission Project is being funded through a $238 million development loan from Japanese International Cooperation Agency.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has reiterated his commitment to building a $1 trillion Nigerian economy by 2030, with an interim targeted of achieving at least 7% annual GDP growth by 2027. Speaking at Wednesday's Federal Executive Council meeting, the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, highlighted progress made in stabilizing the economy through decisive reforms. In addition, the Minister of Finance announced FEC approval of $125 million in Islamic Development Bank financing for road project in Umuahia and Aba, as well as phase refinancing plan to settle 4 trillion naira in outstanding electricity sector debt within the next 4 weeks.
A very attractive platform for manufactured exports, given the competitive exchange rate. So the president did emphasize and recommit to building a $1 trillion economy by 2020. And in order to achieve this, he focused on the fact that by 2027, we need to be growing by at least 7% per annum to achieve that rapid, sustained, inclusive growth and achieve the target that he has set.
The Federal Executive Council also approved 142 billion naira for the construction of modern bus terminals across the country. A total of 493 billion naira was also approved for 2 major infrastructure projects: the upgrade of the Kano-Katsina Road and the construction of a new Carter Bridge in Lagos. Minister of Works David Umahi noted that prevailing economy conditions have driven significant cost revisions for the 152-kilometer Kano-Katsina Road, which has been split into 2 sections by the previous administration.